Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. I have to be honest with you. I woke up this morning with a bit of a pit in my stomach. You know that feeling when you realize something good, something really, truly, well, it can't last forever. That's sort of where my head is at. We spend so much time dissecting, the weekend's game, the referee calls, all the TMO drama. But today, we're zooming way out. We're looking at the chessboard. We're looking at the future of the green and gold, and specifically the one question that I think keeps every South African fan awake at night.
It is the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're sitting here, February 2026. The Springboks are stable. They're powerful, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The clock is ticking on an era.
Exactly. And the question we're unpacking today, based on a really fantastic piece by Craig Lewis over at the South African, is simple, but let's be honest, absolutely terrifying. Life after Siya, we have been spoiled. I mean, we've been blessed with Siya Kolisi, arguably one of the greatest captains to ever lace up a pair of boots. But who takes the armband when he puts it down? That is the mission for this deep dive. And it's a fascinating conflict. You've got the stability of the coaching box versus the inevitable transition on the field. And the names coming up in this conversation, some of them are obvious, sure, but a few of them are going to really surprise people, I think.
Before we get into those names, and I know everyone is probably screaming their favorite player's name at their phone right now. I have a job to do. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want to be the person at the braai who actually knows the long-term strategy, not just the scoreline, you need to subscribe to Rugby Obsession right now. Don't wait. Just hit that button. We're going to be tracking the succession battle all the way to the World Cup and beyond.
So let's set the scene. To understand where we're going, we have to understand what we're losing. The source material really highlights this dream team relationship between Rassie Erasmus and Siya Kolisi. It's not just a coach and a captain. This goes back to 2008.
2008. That's wild. That's nearly 2 decades of a shared rugby DNA.
It is. They finish each other's sentences, They view the game through the same lens. Now, the big news framing all of this is that Rassie Erasmus isn't going anywhere. He's extended his contract right through to 2031. The mastermind is locked in.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Usually when a World Cup cycle ends, everyone just clears out. But Rassie staying until 2031 means the philosophy, the whole system, it stays. But Siya is likely heading into international retirement after the 2027 World Cup.
That's the working assumption. So you've got a scenario where the architect remains, but a general leaves the field. That creates a massive vacuum. And you can't just fill a Siya-shaped hole with any talented player. You need a specific type of leader.
Okay, let's unpack this. So the source breaks this down into 2 timelines, the right now and the future. Because Siya is still here, but he gets rested, he picks up knocks, we've seen it happen. So when Siya isn't there, who's the guy Rassie trusts today? The source reveals a name that, honestly, if you told me this 4 years ago, I might have laughed. But now, it makes you think.
It's Jesse Kriel.
Jesse Kriel, the defensive organizer. I mean, I know he's fit, I know he's intense, but captain, he's usually the quiet operator, isn't he? He's not exactly giving the Braveheart speeches.
Well, that's the misconception. See, we tend to view captaincy as, who yells the loudest or who talks to the press the best. But under Rassie's system, the captain is a tactical conduit. The source explicitly mentions that Erasmus has quite happily turned to Jesse Kriel as a trusted leader.
So it's about functionality over flair.
Think about what Kriel actually does. He runs the defensive system. In modern rugby, the defensive captain is arguably more important than the guy calling heads or tails at the coin toss. He organizes the line speed, he calls the drift, he reads the opposition's attack structure in real time.
That's a really good point. When you're 15 points down with 10 minutes to go, you don't need a speech. You need someone to organize the defensive line so you don't leak another try.
Exactly. Kriel has effectively been the defensive captain for years now. Making him the actual captain when Kolisi's off the field is just a natural extension of his job. He embodies that warrior spirit Rassie loves so much.
Okay, I can buy that for the short term. I can. But here's where I have to push back a bit. You look at that team sheet and it is stacked with legends. The source mentions the heavy hitters. Eben Etzebeth, Handre Pollard, Bongi Mbonambi, Pieter-Steph du Toit. I mean, come on. Eben Etzebeth is the most capped Springbok of all time. If Siya goes, surely you just hand it to the enforcer. Why isn't he the long-term answer?
Emotionally, I agree with you 100%. It feels like he's earned it 10 times over. But this is where the deep dive requires us to be cold and analytical. The source points out a problem with these names if we're looking at the post-2027 era.
Let me guess. Father time.
It's the biological reality, yeah. The source classifies Etzebeth, Pollard, Mbonambi, and Dutoit as being in the latter stages of their international careers.
Latter stages? Oof. That hurts to hear. I don't want to accept that.
I know. It feels like they should play forever. But think about the cycle. Rassie is signed until 2031. If you appoint a captain in 2028, you want that captain to lead you into the 2031 World Cup. You can't build a 4-year strategy around guys who might be retiring 6 months after Siya does.
That is the brutal logic of it, isn't it? You can't start a new era with guys who are about to finish theirs. It would just be a stopgap measure.
Precisely. They are viable candidates for now. They provide the stability for the 2027 campaign. But if we're talking about life after Siya, meaning the actual succession plan for the next generation, we have to look past the legends we know and love. We have to look at who is going to be standing tall in 2029, 2030, 2031.
So Rassie is playing 4D chess again. He isn't just trying to survive next week. He is engineering the team that plays 5 years from now.
That is his greatest strength. He plants trees that he might not even sit under, although in this case, with his contract extension, he plans to sit under them.
Okay, so if the old guard is walking into the sunset after the World Cup, we are staring at a massive vacuum. Who steps in to avoid that big? The source pivots to the next generation, and this is where it gets really fun. We have 2 very different candidates representing 2 very different philosophies.
It is the classic rugby debate, isn't it? The playmaker versus the engine room.
Let's start with the playmaker. This is the guy who brings the X factor. Candidate A.
Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu.
Even the game sounds like a star.
He has the aura, doesn't he? Now, let's look at the facts. In 2026, the source describes him as being at the start of his Test career, but the trajectory is vertical. And Erasmus, who does not hand out compliments lightly, has admitted the former SAU-20 skipper shows captaincy material.
Captaincy material. That is a specific phrase. That's not just he's a good player. That means Rassie sees him running the show.
It's significant. Sacha understands the pressure. He's led teams at junior levels. He plays in the most cognitively demanding positions on the field, fly half or fullback. You have to know the game inside out to play there at the Test level.
But, and there's always a but with young playmakers, isn't there a huge risk here? I mean, look at what happens to fly halves. They get targeted, they get smashed.
That is the condition the source highlights.
Yeah.
It explicitly says if he can stay fit and injury-free, that is the big variable. We have seen promising careers derailed by injuries. If you make him captain, you are betting on his durability as much as his talent.
It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. If he stays fit, you have a charismatic, tactically brilliant leader who is the face of the team for a decade.
Exactly. The thinking is that by the time 2027 wraps up, he will have banked some more experience. He won't be the rookie sensation anymore. He'll be battle-hardened. He'll have gone through a World Cup cycle. He will be ready.
I love the idea of it. It feels modern, it feels dynamic. But then there's the other option, the option that feels a bit more traditional Springbok. Candidate B.
Ruan Nortje.
The towering lock.
The workhorse. This is where the analysis gets granular. Ruan Nortje doesn't have the flash of Sacha. He isn't going to be on the cover of every magazine. But look at his profile. He is a lock. He runs the line out. And the source highlights a critical number, 27.
He's 27 years old right now.
Which means in 2028, when the post-Siya era officially begins, he will be 29.
That is the Goldilocks zone.
It really is. 29 for a lock is prime time. You've seen everything. You've played in every hostile stadium in the world, but your body hasn't started to betray you yet. He's old enough to command immediate respect from the referees, but young enough to have a long Test career ahead of him.
He is the engine room choice. Sacha is the Hollywood pick. Nortje is the trench warfare pick.
And remember his credentials. He's been an inspirational leader at the Bulls. He knows the grind of captaincy, managing the referee while your head is stuck in a ruck, keeping the forwards disciplined when they're tired. The source calls him the ever-reliable second rower.
Ever reliable. In a team of superstars, sometimes you just want the guy who is going to be an 8 out of 10 every single Saturday.
That is the argument. The source concludes there's good reason to believe he could be the prime candidate to take over from Kolisi in 2028. It's the logical, safe, solid choice.
It's the difference between buying a sports car and buying a tank. Both get you there, but one handles the potholes a bit better.
That's a great analogy. And honestly, this debate, sports car versus tank, playmaker versus lock, is exactly the kind of thing we love dissecting. If you're enjoying this breakdown, if you want to understand the mechanics of the squad, not just the highlights, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession. We're going to be tracking Nortje's leadership stats and Sacha's game management all season long. You do not want to miss that analysis.
So we have the current stability with Creel. We have the 2028 battle between Sacha and Nortje, but the source throws in one more name, a wild card.
Yeah.
And this one is looking way down the road.
This is the name that proves Rassie's looking at 2031 and beyond. Candidate C, Riley Norton.
Riley Norton. Now, for the casual fan, they might be asking, who?
And that's fair. The source makes it clear. He is certainly not an option just yet.
He's only 20 years old. He's a baby in rugby terms. I've got socks older than him.
He is incredibly young. But listen to how he's described in the report. Pure talent and natural leadership running through his veins.
Running through his veins, that's poetic. That speaks to something you can't coach.
Exactly. Some players learn to lead, others are just born to do it. Riley Norton seems to be the latter. He was the junior Springboks captain. The source calls him a superstar at the last U20 World Championship.
I remember seeing clips of him. He has that presence. He stands tall. But realistically, how does a 20-year-old fit into a succession plan for Siya Kolisi?
He doesn't fit into the immediate plan. That's the key. The source suggests that he has all the potential to be integrated into the Springbok team after the next World Cup. So 2028 onwards is likely when he starts getting his first caps, getting integrated into the system.
So he isn't the successor. He is the successor to the successor.
Precisely. If Rassie stays until 2031, Riley Norton is the long-term investment. He's the project player who could be blossoming into a leader right at the very end of the Rassie era.
That connects the dots perfectly. Think about the timeline. You've got Jesse Creel holding the fort now when needed. You've got the veterans finishing their shift in 2027. Then in 2028, you have a battle between the flair of Sacha and the reliability of Nortje. And quietly, in the background, Riley Norton is rising through the ranks to take the baton later.
It really highlights the blessing that the source talks about. The Springboks aren't just relying on one guy. They're not in a panic because Sai is leaving. They have depth. They have layers of succession.
It is the definition of a healthy system. So often in sports, a legend retires and the team just falls apart for 5 years. We've seen it happen to other nations. I won't name names, but we know who they are. They lose an iconic captain and they lose their identity.
But here, because of the stability Erasmus has built, and because of the way they're identifying talent like Sacha, Nortje, and Norton, the transition looks seamless. It's not just about replacing a player, it's about continuing a culture.
It's almost unfair to the rest of the world, isn't it? Oh, Siya Kolisi is retiring, but don't worry, we have 3 other incredible leaders lined up, and oh yeah, our genius coach is staying for another 5 years.
It is a luxury, but it's a luxury born of planning. And that is what this source really emphasizes, the planning. The fact that we are even talking about Riley Norton, a 20-year-old, in the same breath as the Springbok captaincy, shows how far ahead they are looking.
So what does this all mean for us, the fans?
It means we can enjoy the final years of Siya Kolisi without that existential dread. We can appreciate what he and Rassie are doing now, knowing that the house isn't going to burn down when they leave. The foundation is solid. The future is bright.
Enjoy without dread. I like that. That should be the new motto. Usually being a Buck fan involves a healthy dose of dread, usually around the 70th minute.
That'll never go away. That is part of the fun. But in terms of leadership, we can breathe easy.
So we have the candidates, we have the timeline, we have the context. Now I want to turn it over to you, the listener. We've laid out the case for the defensive general, Jesse Creel. We have debated the playmaker, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, versus the workhorse, Ruan Nortje. And we have teased the future with Riley Norton.
It's a tough choice. It really comes down to what kind of rugby you value. Do you want the tactical genius at 10 or the commanding presence in the tight 5?
Exactly. Who is your pick for the future captain? Are you Team Sacha, Team Nortje? Or do you think Jesse Creel should hold it for the long haul? Maybe you disagree with us completely and think Peter Stuff Du Toit has another World Cup in him.
We want to read your comments and thoughts. Don't just listen. Get involved in the debate. We read everything.
And let us know what you think about the latter stages assessment. Is it too harsh on the veterans? Or is it just the reality we need to accept? The source is pretty definitive, but fans often see things differently.
That is the beauty of rugby. Everyone's an expert, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. It's been a blast looking into the crystal ball with you. It feels good to know that, win or lose, the leadership pipeline is flowing.
Always a pleasure. It is a great time to be a Springbok supporter.
Before you go, I have one last request. If you found this valuable, if you learned something new about the next generation of Bok leaders, please subscribe to Rugby Obsession. It helps us keep the lights on, it helps us keep digging into these sources, and it keeps you in the loop.
We have got some great topics lined up for the next few weeks, digging into player stats, defensive strategies, and more news from the camps. You don't want to miss it.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.